Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to yet another video. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Now we are going to take a look today at the new regulation battle stuff that has been announced. So essentially between April 30th and May 31st of this year, Bandai are bringing out a new special format for a limited time, which essentially is Pauper format. So common and uncommon cards only. So basically means anything that's a holo, anything that's a promo is banned. So you literally can't use anything that is rare, super rare, secret rare, or promo. You're allowed alt art versions so long as the original printing of that card was a common or an uncommon. And this applies to all of your digi eggs, your tamers, and your options as well. So no tamers can be used if they are rare and above, and vice versa. You know, so there's a lot of stuff that is going to be unusable in this format. So a lot of your promo cards, like your training cards and your boosts, some of the like LM cards and stuff like that won't be usable. There is a lot of stuff that is essentially going to be out of bounds. These are some examples of things that are in bounds. Obviously these are some, so obviously Demon Lords is, you know, who's going to be playing Demon Lords, you know, but yeah, essentially that's what's going to be happening. We're getting the kind of couple of little participation prizes. So we've got our Biomon from EX6 and we've got our EX5 Etamon, so some lovely artworks there for anyone looking for those. But essentially that is the general format. So how do we go around building stuff for a common only format? Now I've always liked experimenting with like random formats and stuff like that. I think it's one of the more fun, like I love deck building. Deck building is one of my favorite things. It's why I decided to do the DU deck build challenge, you know, for example, and you know, because I just love experimenting with the game. Not everyone in the team likes to do that. Some people are purists, and to be fair, the general consensus in the team, from what I kind of messaged in the group, because I was like, oh yeah, regulation battle sounds really cool. They were all just like, nah, we don't want to do that. So I mean, hopefully we will do it at some point, but if not, I'll you know, experiment with it elsewhere, I'm sure, because I really love the format. But I've come up with some different lists for almost every colour apart from white. I couldn't think of anything for white. I tried thinking of Eosmon, for example, but there are no Morphomons, and it's like, I mean, technically you could do it, and it's like, it was a whole mess. But anyways, let's take a look at some lists that I've come up with. Now, bear in mind, none of these lists will be tested. They are just theory crafting kind of things that you could think of potentially on the fly for these kind of events. But let's take a look at our first list, which is representing red dinosaurs. So I love dinosaurs. I'm a big Jurassic Park fan. Obviously Greymon is my favorite, you know, Digimon line, stuff like that. So I thought dinosaurs would be a really interesting kind of pick here. Obviously you get one of the most generic and powerful eggs in the entire game with Koromon. You get access to the Agumon rookies, which includes searchers like the EX8, which can add your Tyrannomons, your reptiles, and your dinosaurs. It does also add Ryotaro Williams, which unfortunately is not usable in this format, but at least you're still able to search out some of your stuff and gives you a big DP boost. You've got ST1 Greymon is an uncommon, so you can use that just as a generic way to give yourself security tap +1. You've got the EX4 Agumon, giving you some draws and some memory. Same with the Geo Greymon here. You've got Tyrannomon, kind of using that start of main effect to make all of your Ceratopsian, Tyrannomon, or dinosaurs cheaper, which all of our level 5s and above are. The Triceramons here is just a little cheap raid thing. Star of the show is, of course, the BT14 Dino Rexmon, which has the Blitz. It then also has the All Turns effect of while your opponent has one or more memory, they can't play Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, and this Digimon gets 4,000 DP, so it just locks the board. Really cool, really big. You know, goes in with that Blitz, potentially the Security Tap +1 as well. In the other level 6 slot, I'm not going to lie, I wanted to kind of be consistent with the dinosaur theming, just for searching and stuff like that, so I ended up going with Spinomon. It's 13k natively plus some other boosts potentially, and you know, all that sort of stuff. So it's not bad, it's not great. There's probably other dinosaurs I could have used. I mean, I did try and have a look. So if I go level 6 dinosaur, so we'll go, let's have a little look, have a little gander. As always, when I'm on camera, I cannot type. And now it's not letting me find anything. That's why I was, because I'm looking at options. That's why. Yeah, these are the only dinosaurs we've got. So we've got Spinomon, we've got Dino X1, obviously, you know, Spinomon here. potentially you could look at other things like Ceratopsium maybe or something like that, but there weren't really many other options. But if you did want to look at red as well, I mean, I'd love to see someone experiment with this Dorbic that would be quite funny. And you're so close to being usable in this, but just not the right trait. You could potentially also go kind of ancient, basically any of these decks, the ancient so-and-so decks, a lot of these guys can be used. So you could use the black blocker one, you could use this guy for example for the red hybrid stuff, and essentially make a really cheap version of red hybrid, which is quite funny. I went with the dinosaur engine because I like dinosaurs, and I think that would be pretty cool. Going back to the actual list, we've got Owen, helps us with kind of deleting stuff because of the fact he gets suspended. That helps us with our draws from the Ogumon and the Geogreymon. DP boosts from this Ogumon here. Crimson Blaze, obviously we get Crimson Blaze in this. Flame Memory Boost is kind of bad, but it's all we've got. So, you know, we get some draw cards with like Fireball and Rowdy Rocker instead of kind of searching stuff. And obviously the Tyrannomon stuff here, giving us Security Tap +1 and just some big boosts in general. But that is kind of the idea for the red list that I've come up with. Let's now take a look at blue. So for blue, I've had a look and kind of gone, okay, still got a fair whack of kind of aquatic Digimon that we can use. Again, just saying, none of these lists are tested. This all theory stuff, just examples of cards you can experiment with, rather than me explicitly going, all of these lists will be perfect and they'll win you your prizes. Again, not a deck profile video. This is just theory stuff. Yeah, this is what I kind of came up with for aquatic. I was kind of stuck between using stuff like the Gomamon engine, because you do have a lot of Gomamon stuff available in this format. So if I type in Gomamon, and have a look. So we still got quite a few of these. We've got this one for the draw. We've got the Gomamon X for kind of your searching and stuff like that. I was really tempted to use those, but I didn't really want to kind of go. You know, the only thing that was making me think possibly to go there was this Plesiomon, because there aren't that many Digimon that you can use to actually play stuff out in this format, even in the level 6 slot. The Plesiomon was kind of the best one that I could think of. You know, you could definitely use this Gomamon engine instead. So instead of these Crabmons, put in your Gomamons instead and go to town. Maybe play around with the Seadramons and stuff like that. Just kind of use stuff that's a bit more searchable by this guy. So your Sea Beasts, Beastkins and stuff like that. So if I type in Sea Beast, like in the level 4 slot, you know, let's put that to 4. There we go. So you've got a few different Ikakumons that you can use, including the ST21 one. That'd be quite funny. Actually, that would be useful actually, because if this is running till May, some of the adventure stuff would be useful actually. I didn't think about that. You could use some of the adventure stuff. That'd be pretty cool. I don't think you'd be able to use all of it, but there's not a lot of kind of Ikakumon stuff here. I mean, if we have a look at other searchable things by I mean, you've got Leomon stuff. You've got the BT1 Leomon. You want to play that? Yeah. Anyways, back to the list. It's the theory crafting, my theory crafting. Yeah, I thought this was quite cool. We've got the Zhangpangmon, which is quite expensive, I will grant you. But we've got ways of kind of gaining memory in this. You know, the Waru Seadramon, for example, the Bukamon, when we're playing stuff out. That'll just net us 2 memory straight off the bat. Kaizenel's quite funny in this. Hammerspark, obviously it's only to 1, but you know, it's there. Howling Memory Boost, just to help us with get a little bit more memory. Obviously the Yao can get us up to 3. We can gain a bit more memory from stuff like our end of attacks here for the Sangomon, attacking in with the Seadramon here. You know, there's quite a few different ways of gaining just a little bit of memory and going for there. This inheritable here is quite good because of the unsuspend. I mean, being able to unsuspend with the Zhangpangmon would be excellent, but it's just obviously that big 5 play cost. The Plesiomon is probably quite good in the fact that obviously we can gain memory from playing this. It's really annoying that this Zhangpangmon does not play stuff out from its sources, actually. But what we can do is you can always do a cheeky Homer and play out something, and then you can put stuff underneath, and so there's a few different tricks available to it. Is it perfect? Probably not, but like I say, this is all theory crafting at the end of the day. Let's take a look at our next colour, which is purple. Everyone knows my favourite colour, and to some people, back when we did our ban list predictions video, people think I hate this colour. I don't. Not anymore, anyway. Ban list hit it. I'm joking. Anyways, you know, I love purple as much as anyone else. I think it's a great colour with its own kind of quirks, as any colour does. But anyways, this is what I kind of came up for the commons only one. So going with the kind of Dark Animal engine. So obviously using the Baumon, we can go up into Dark Animal SOC. I went more Dark Animal Undead rather than Dark Animal SOC. Though you can see kind of twinges of what I was going more for the SOC stuff. And you probably could still, there's still a fair whack of SOC stuff that you can use as well. So when I'm looking at the right thing, so that you've got quite a bit of different SOC things available to you. So you could go a bit more SOC, to be fair. Is that SOC? No, oh no, it's social. Fuck's sake, Appmon. But yeah, you've got stuff like the Tyrannomon. You can get the searching stuff. So there's quite a few different SOC things you could go with. So you could absolutely change this Dark Animal list and put in more SOC stuff. I think that would be pretty... And in fact, I was tempted to do that, actually. But I ended up not doing it. But you've got... I think the one thing that kind of is annoying with the SOC stuff, if you did go with it, is that there are no level 6s in the common and uncommon kind of slots, whereas you can do that with undead stuff. So it's like... I guess that was my thinking, but you've got quite a few different things in here. You've got the Dracmon to search out stuff. Phascomon is a good on deletion target with that draw. Obviously with stuff like the Pheromon, deleting a level 4 or lower Digimon, because it doesn't have to be one of your own Digimon. It could be one of their Digimon, it could be one of yours, so do that to net you a draw. Labramon, obviously, with that Inheritable, which is also shared by the Dobermon X. You know, Cerberusmon Werewolf mode is pretty cool. The Black Gatomon is in here just as something we can plonk in the trash and then play out for later. In terms of Tamers, Code Crackerfang obviously can't kind of mind link with Bellucimon or Pheromon or Skull Mammothmon, but it can with basically anything else. So it just gives you like an alliance and blocker, which is pretty cool. The Alice McCoy is quite nice as well, because of the fact we can delete some stuff to reduce the cost of our level 6s. Both of these cost 4, so that kind of helps us with reducing the cost. Call from Darkness, obviously, again, we can delete stuff, return some of our purple Digimon cards to hand, delete the Phascomon, get a draw, pretty nice. Miss Memory, one of the better memory boost options available in a Pauper format, because this actually does help quite considerably with purple strategies. I mean, this is used, you know, widely in an array of different purple meta decks, for example, so this is still pretty useful. We've got a draw engine with a Dobermon as well as blocker access. The Sangloopmon is pretty cool, because essentially what you can do is you could use your Baumon to your turn when a Digimon with a Dark Animal SSU trait is trash from your hand, to Digivolve him to this with this, but obviously it is going to be for the cost. And then do the same. Obviously, this is also going to be for the cost, but to then Digivolve up with the Sangloopmon to then Digivolve into your undeads. So you can use the Baumon to go into one of your level 5s, use the Sangloop to then go into your Pharaohs or your Skull Mammoths. So that's pretty cool. You know, again, we've got some good memory gain in this and some little draw things, and yeah, I think this is just pretty cool. The Dracmon also has that same Inheritable as well, so you can use that to Digivolve up. Like, there's a lot of little tricks you can do with this purple deck. Skull Mammothmon is a draw engine on the when digivolving, and also plays stuff out when you trash stuff from hand. Another interesting thing, obviously with purple, which I was thinking of putting in, but I didn't do it in the end, is Nidhoggmon. This is another fairly meta-relevant card that is available in a common and uncommon format. So, you know, if you wanted to have stuff that was a bit more memory loopish, and you know, you wanted to trash this card from your hand to gain memory and stuff like that, absolutely put this in. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, maybe you could make a Dark Dragon engine. Could you do that? Let's have a look. See if there's any decent... Oh, there's a fair whack of Dark Dragon stuff. Okay. Obviously, you'd also need Impmons if you want to go... Oh, there you go. There's an Impmon. And that is in the common uncommon slot. That searches stuff. Okay. Dark Dragon stuff. That could be pretty cool. You know, use these... Ice One Scatter Mode. That's, you know, obviously limited. Both of these are limited, but they're common and uncommon. That obviously has a Dark Dragon, so you could use that and trash it from your hand. Yeah, that's not bad, actually. Obviously, you can't use Heavy Metal Dramon or anything like that, but you've also got cheeky hybrids, like the Burning Greymon, for example. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you could go Dark Dragon for purple. That'd be pretty janky. I'd be gaming with that. Right, let's take a look at colour number 4. Green. Now, there are a few different options you could go for with green. For example, there are a fair few different options for... There we go. Come on. Oh, I've misspelled it. Oh, sorry. Leomon. So there's quite a few different things for Leomon. You've got both of the rookies from the EX5 Leomon deck, though. For example, Elecmon and Leolmon. You've got the Saber Leomon here and here. Bancho Leomon would be a little bit harder to put in this. You have got access to one, and we'll be looking at him in a bit. But you know, that's there. The level 5s from the EX5 stuff are not available, so you'd have to kind of go for stuff like your Panyamons, which aren't really going to do too much in this. We're not going to be getting rush off of anything, for example. You could possibly go for this. You can go this Panyamon, actually, to be fair. So the BT14 one, give you a DP boost, suspend. Mad Leomon's pretty good for kind of that boosting stuff. But anyways, enough about Leomon. Bunnies. I'm more about bunnies than lions. Bunnies are cooler than lions. That's a fact. So I came up with the bunnies list for the format, which I think works all in theory. So obviously we're using the EX4 engine, so we're searching for our 2-color green cards as well as certain tamers. Obviously this one will whiff on tamers, this one might not though, so there is that. You know, I went for Willis as a tamer along with Shu Chongmon. You could absolutely swap the ratios with these. I mean, you could just go, there you go 3 and 3, so you've got equal ratios, for example. I got a lot of 2-color green stuff. There weren't any bunnies specific 2-color green stuff for the level 6s, so I ended up going with Titamon from BT11 because that is big. It's got a piercing stuff. It can gain memory for trashing stuff and suspending Digimon, which is pretty damn cool. And then the Varaduramon, which is absolutely huge, gets 3000 DP and attacks. It essentially gives itself a pseudo blitz. So I thought that would be pretty cool as well. Granted, this one is only going to be good for like, I mean, to be fair, both of these are not going to be great in terms of long game, to be honest, because they don't have floodgates, they don't have like protection stuff, but there's not a lot of things we have to worry about with protection stuff, I guess. But we do have a lot of other really cool things. So the Wendigomon can delete our bunnies to then play them back out again, which then triggers our Willis and gets them to digivolve up into stuff. The Antilamon stuff is pretty cool. It's really nice seeing this one at 4. The EX6 one is obviously not usable, that is a rare, but this one is basically the purple equivalent of that, playing stuff from trash instead, which is pretty good. Obviously HPD is in this. It's an uncommon. We get one of the best cards in the game in this list. I thought Samdi Santi is pretty good because obviously it can suspend stuff, like suspends your opponent's Digimon or Tamers from security, and obviously in main you can use it just as a 1 cost. You may suspend one of your Digimon, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, which then will trigger a lot of your kind of other stuff. So it will just trigger the Shu Chongmon, for example, which would be pretty cool. These guys obviously will let you digivolve up with the Alliance stuff, so whether that be with the Wendigomon or with your level 5s, which obviously is going to be the main targets here, you can then use those to then go up into your other 2-color Digimon with a reduced cost of 2, so you can go into the Varaduramon or the Titamon for those reduced costs. So that is pretty cool. The only thing that was a bit sad was I thought the double Typhoon option was a common or uncommon. I don't know why. It's not though, unfortunately. I believe it is a rare or a super rare. Let's find out. Hang on. Do this. Let's go double Typhoon. Yeah, it's a rare. So unfortunately you can't use that, which is a real shame. I thought it was a common. But it's also a very good card. So, and there aren't any real like option searches in this format at all. So it's going to be a much slower format in general. So you want to try and get decks that have a lot of searching power. This is one that has got quite a bit of searching power. We've got a searching Tamer, for example. We've got 2 different searching rookies, so it's got a lot going for it. Let's move on to our next list, which is Jumbo Chess. So I really love Jumbo Gamemon. Jumbo Gamemon is one of my favourite cards in the entire game, and he just so happens to be an uncommon. I've been experimenting with like Jumbo lists for a long time. Jumbo Chess is, funny enough, one of the ones I've never built. But in theory, this checks out pretty well. We have access to Maki, who Maki I think is going to be quite a good tamer for a lot of black lists in this. You know, searches any 2-color, reduces their cost as well, so it gives you access to those kind of things. You know, we've got the Etamon obviously for kind of forcing them to attack in with our Jumbo Gamemon. Got Laplas's Demon. Like, there's lots of stuff going on. Zubagon Punch, great card. Ultimate Flare, great card. Obviously looking at this list as well, you could absolutely, instead of going kind of Chessmon stuff, you could absolutely go Sukamon stuff. So if we type in Sukamon, into here, we've got a lot of different Sukamon options. You know, you've almost got everything you'd ever need. The only things you don't have are a lot of the EX5 stuff is not there. So you don't get access to the obviously the Metaletamon, that's a super rare. You don't have access to the Tumon, that's a rare. But you get access to a lot of the other stuff for Sukamon. So obviously you get the Etamon, this is really, really good. We don't have any aces in this format, so it's not really as good. So you need to make sure you've got big blockers, which is why it works well with Jumbo Gamemon. You've got the King Etamon, you've got the Security Sukamon, that's still in here. You've got a lot of different options for Sukamon, so that's also potentially something you could experiment with. We've got the bad King Sukamon, we haven't got the good one, the rare, unfortunately, but which is from BT11, I think. But you've got a lot of really cool kind of things going on in here. In terms of other things you could potentially do for black, then another thing is going to be black hybrid. All of the black hybrid stuff is pretty much available. So we've got obviously the Sephiroth Mons, both of them. We've got both of the Mercury Mons. We've got the Rhino Capitarimon in here. All of this sort of stuff. The only thing that this list has going against it is there's not a great pool of tamers. So if I go for tamers, there's a fair few tamers, but unfortunately there's not really any that hybrids will work well with. You could possibly go Mamemon. Mamemon would be fairly funny in this because you've got the Daigo in this. You've also got not this guy, although technically this guy. So this guy and Kazu, so Altea and Kazu, both do machine and cyborg stuff. Sorry, Mike. So you could potentially go for like a cyborg kind of engine, which Jumbo Gamemon is part of. It is a cyborg, so you could potentially go for those more kind of cyborg kind of things as well. I also went with Jumbo Chess because I thought it's not a list I've experimented a lot with, so I wanted to see if I could play one. So any Jumbo Chessmon players out there, let me know if you like this list for a Pauper format, or if there's anything you'd improve. Like I say, all of these are theory crafted. They're not exactly deck profiles. We're just experimenting ideas and kind of seeing how many ideas we can actually come up with in a common and uncommon format. I've probably said that like 2,000 times by now, but I'm just always paranoid that there'll be that one guy who will go, "You're not testing lists again, Joshua. You're bad." You know, but yeah, it's a really cool list. We've got the parabolic junk in here to gain some memory when we're deleting our dudes. Yeah, really, really cool. Let's move on to our last list. So this is technically black annular, it's mostly black. Let's go to one which is also technically not a yellow list, but is the best predominantly yellow list I could come up with, and that was Accel. So I love Accel. Accel is one of my favorite decks. Now, and something I've not mentioned for this entire video, might I add, is that in this format there are no level 7s. There is not a single level 7 in the game printed in either common or uncommon, which is probably indicative of their place in the lore. These really larger than life Digimon, which are, you know, hugely powerful, they wouldn't be common, you know, would they? Really, they wouldn't be uncommon. They would at least be rare. They are rare things in the digital world, therefore they are also rare in terms of card printing. But essentially what you could do with the Accel trait stuff is, as you can see, it's predominantly yellow, but it's you know, obviously got green egg and stuff like that. But your whole idea is that you're going to be climbing up using this egg. You've got the Singularity of Chaos, so you can play stuff out for cheap, which includes the Varadoromon and the Bancho Leomon. So these guys, if you've got an Accel trait out, these guys reduce their play cost by 5 on their own, and then with the Singularity of Chaos reduces them by 4, so that means we're reducing by 9. You're playing out level 6s for 3 cost. Now, the only thing is obviously their end of turns are null and void because we don't have any Chaos Mons because there's no level 7s. But they're both still really cool. The Bancho Leomon basically can just delete anything it wants in this format. Just de-digivolve 2 and then -5. So even if they've got a level 6, you de-digivolve them back down to a level 4. Most level 4s are going to be in that kind of 5k or less range. So you then -5 it and they're gone. The Varadoromon gets absolutely massive, as we saw in the bunnies one. Yeah, and then we've also just kind of filled the list with a couple of other little bits just to kind of help us fill numbers. So reinforcing memory boost I put in here just as a boosting option. We don't have a lot of boosting options in yellow. Reinforcing memory boost is one of the only ones that we had. You know, so this does pretty well in that general regard. Heaven's Judgment, I put at 3. I was really tempted to put in what's it called? There it is, Emissary of Hope. But there aren't really any good TKs in this format. You've got the one for 3 Great Angels, and there are no really good level 6s for Angels in this, apart from maybe /Angemon. Maybe, but not really. The Beta 16 one. And in terms of your TKs, the only other one you've got is you've got the blue one from BT8, which is useless in most yellow lists. So, you know, yellow was definitely the hardest to come up with. I was experimenting at one point with I'll just do this with Lampmon, which I thought would be quite funny. He's a data, so you can use him along with side the data Witch-Orny stuff, which is quite funny. You could search him out with Candlemon, for example, but I just couldn't find enough stuff in the format to make use of his effects. So he's got a your turn effect of this Digimon gains security attack +1 for each of your opponent's Digimon with security attack. So you want to kind of go give as much security attack minuses to your opponent's Digimon as possible, and I couldn't really find a lot of ways to do that. If anyone wants to experiment with this guy and let me know about it, please do, because I've wanted to experiment with this card specifically for a long time, because I love experimenting with janky shit, but I just can't seem to make him work, which is why I ended up thinking of going with accel. Plus it's a list I'm fairly comfortable with because it's something I've done with recently. We've got the battle NPC, so obviously this allows us to use our Singularity of Chaos whenever we want. I thought it was quite funny to put Spencer Damon into this list, just because of the fact, obviously, we've got Bancho Leomon as a great big part of it, but also because, you know, he does give us a little bit of a defensive option, you know, because we don't have as many defensive options in this as in the, you know, proper accel, because the Bancho Leomon inheritable is never going to go off. We only have the Loader Leomons inheritable. So Spencer's just in here to help us have another blocker if we need it, which is pretty nice. And then also to fill in some numbers, I put in Leolmon because we've got a couple of different Leomon in name type things. We've got Loader Leomon, Bancho Leomon, and then the other kind of filler we put is Leomon, which also, can I just say, this one has the rule is always treated as Leomon. This one does not, and I find that's weird. They are the same Digimon. Why don't they both have this rule treated thing? I understand they are from different decks. This is from the accel. This is from the Leomon deck. This is from the accel trait. Whatever. If this had Leomon in its name. You know, if that had that rule treated thing, this would make this specific list so much better, but unfortunately it doesn't. But I thought that was pretty cute to kind of add these little bits of Leomon in. Obviously Leomon is going to be another good kind of deck in this format potentially. It's got most of its tools available to it, just some of the key ones are missing, and it's kind of missing a top end kind of. You've only really got Saber Leomons, or if you manage to go enough, you know, black or yellow, you could go for this Bancho Leomon, but not really feasible, I don't think. Could be, but I mean, saying that, this Loader Leomon can digivolve on top of Leomon and the EX5 Leomon, so it would be for 4 cost, but, you know, it reduce costs and stuff like that for the when attackings, and yeah, you could do that, to be fair. Your Saber Leomon wouldn't be able to digivolve on this, though, unless it can. Unless it can it? Can it? Can you digivolve on top of a Leomon in name? No, you can't. Okay, rip to that idea. Never mind. Okay, but anyways, I'm not discussing Leomon today. That's not one of the lists I wanted to come up with. But these are the lists I kind of came up with. I wanted to try and get one for every color, and you know, and like I say, this isn't me going, these lists are going to be the best decks in the format ever. That's not what I'm saying with this. I'm trying to say how much kind of thought you can put into this format, how many things we've got available to actually kind of talk about and discuss and theory craft and build, you know. So I think there's a lot of nuance to this format. It's obviously going to be slower, it's obviously going to be less efficient, so you kind of need, you know, I think the more controlling you can be, the better you in general the list will be, or the, you know, or the more aggro you can be, the better it'll be, so the quicker you can sort things out. But let me know which one of these lists you think is the best one. Like I say, none of them are tested, just because, you know, time and stuff like that. This is all just really to showcase ideas And I am rambling, sorry. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you again for the next video. But until then, keep it digital.